Hello guys, in this video we're going to talk about what the JavaScript for loop is, especially for you guys who are just learning the JavaScript fundamentals, for those of you who are just starting out with the basics. So what is a for loop, right? What is a loop really? A loop is something, is basically an operation that allows us to literally just loop through elements inside a collection, say an array, for example, an array being a collection of items. And basically with the loop, we can execute a certain functionality, a certain function for each of those items inside that collection. So for example, since we're looking at a for loop here, let's say we have an array of items, let's say an array of cars, right? And we want to basically print out each element inside each car inside that array, and we want to do something with them, right? So before we even get into that, let's just talk about the for loop just really quick. So this is basically the structure of the for loop. You have your, you write for, and then inside these curly braces, you have your loop statements, right? And you have a total of 3 statements. You have statement 1, statement 2, and statement 3. And we're going to get to what these actually are in a minute. And right after that, we have our curly braces, inside which we have our loop body, okay? Our loop body. Okay, this is the code block, which is that we intend to execute. Okay, so now let's break down each statement here. Statement 1 is our initialization, and basically this is executed only once before the code block even gets executed. Okay, so this statement 1 is always executed one time. Statement 2 is our conditional. This is the conditional that we set for our code block to run. And basically, we can write, whatever condition we want inside here. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Okay, and statement 3 here, this represents the incrementer or decrementer. And basically, this will execute, statement 3 again, will execute every time after the code block inside our curly braces has been executed, and until statement 2 is false. So once statement 2 is false, statement 3, the whole loop will just stop when statement 2 is false. Okay, so let's see. So let's write our first loop. Okay, so let's just scroll down here for a minute. All right, so let's say we have a collection of cars, an array of cars, right? Let's say my cars. That's the hardest part, naming your variables. Okay, so we have an array, and let's do let's say Jeep, let's do Mercedes. High-end cars here. Let's do Ferrari, and let's just to mix it up, let's do Toyota. Let's diversify it. Okay, so we have an array called my cars. Okay, and now what we're gonna do is say if we were to just log that. What that's gonna do, that's just gonna log our array, right? What did I do? Unexpected number J6. Oh, this guy here. All right. There we go. Right, so we have our array here. Okay, so that's just going to print out our array. But what we want to do is we want to print out each element inside this array, right? So for that we need a loop. So let's write our loop here. Let's clear this out. So let's write for. This is how you write a for loop. I usually put a space right after, just for readability. So let's see our statement 1. Again, let's scroll up here. This is our initialization. So this is where we declare our loop variable. So let's say let I for initializer, or iteration, or equals 0. Okay. So this is a starting point of our loop. Okay. This is where we're going to start. Okay. And this is only going to get run one time at the beginning. Okay. And now let's say our conditional is if I is less than my cars dot length, because we want to start from the 0th element, the very first element here. Okay, that's our starting point, element 0, and then we're going to go to element 1, element 2, and element 3, and this is the length of our array here. Okay, so we're going to go all the way to the end of our array. Okay, that's our condition. Once the loop detects that this condition has been met, the loop will stop. Okay, that's statement 2. Now statement 3 is we're gonna increment, so we're starting from our first element and we're going to our last element. So we want to do I plus plus. You don't need a semicolon at the end. All right, so we're gonna space, and now inside our curly braces, We're going to enter, and this is where we write our loop body. All right, so we're going to do console.log, and we're going to do my cars. Okay, now if we do this, what do you think is going to happen, right? Basically, what's going to happen is my cars is going to print out for each one of these elements here. But since our loop is going through this entire array here, we want to basically define, we basically want to take our loop and say, okay, we want to print out in our my cars array, right? We want to print out each iteration, each element. So that's how we write it. And now we're going to hit enter. And my computer's a little slow today. There we go. Jeep, Mercedes, Ferrari, Toyota. And that's it, folks. That's your for loop. It's a very basic for loop. And I hope this was helpful for you. And yeah, thanks.